and they say it couldn't be done. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a faction showcase. Today will not be a lot of tactics and stuff behind the Enforcers. This is literally just me showing off paint. I did something absolutely crazy. I painted like 102, I think is the final count. Over 100, I know that for sure. Miniatures in less than a week. It was absolutely crazy, but I never actually, felt burnt out at any point, like I was slogging through it, even though there's so many. I decided on a scheme that I really liked, and I'll kind of go into that as I'm showing off all the stuff. And if you guys are interested in the process of it, stick around towards the end-ish of the video, and I'll tell you exactly the steps that I did to do this. Probably with some pictures, because I took some pictures along the way. I probably could have done a better job documenting, but that's not important. Basically, this is just going to be a showcase of what I was able to accomplish in a week. I'm really, really thrilled with the results, and I think that the Shadow of the 7 came along very well. This is going to be my Enforcer company. This is going to be for, obviously Firefight and especially Deadzone. This will give me all the options just about. There's only a very few things that I don't have in terms of, what can be put into a strike team. So, yeah, I'm really thrilled with the results. I think this is one of my craziest things I've ever done hobby-wise, but I'm really happy with the way it all turned out. I think, it gives that real special, like, spec-ops, dark nighttime, these are the guys that just go in and get the job done. So that's exactly what I was going for. I picked something kind of easy to do, and let's check out the results. So here they are, the Shadow of the 7. This is my Enforcer army, as you can see. I guess I'll just kind of go through and do some unit by unit kind of, closer ups. But yeah, essentially from an overhead view, it's a whole heck of a lot of miniatures. I've got 6 Jetbikes, 2 Flyers, which are fully magnetized. I did a video forever and a half of me actually magnetizing those, so if you're curious, you can check that video out. But yeah, they can be either the Interceptor or the Bomber. So yeah, that's all in there. But yeah, there's basically roughly 20 Peacekeepers, 10 Assault Enforcers, whole bunch of command models, 5 Defender Shield dudes, just regular guys that aren't Peacekeepers. I've got about 15 normal Enforcers with the rifles. I've got 20 Pathfinders. I got some snipers, some engineers. I've got 5 of the heavy weapons guys with the rocket launchers, a medic, and some burst laser guys with a flamethrower guy. So it's a whole lot. It's going to be everything I'm ever going to need for Deadzone for sure. And then obviously it's going to be really great for Firefight and all that stuff too. So let's start with the heavily armored guys. Right here is my Peacekeepers. As you can see, I decided to do just a few colors on these guys to really make them pop. I wanted them to be that special ops kind of, black armor. I obviously knew I had so many miniatures that I needed something easy to execute to actually paint. And so I decided on this scheme. This guy over here on the very far left, right here with the glove, he was actually my test model for the Peacekeepers. But yeah, it basically, I wanted something that was easy to execute and had just a few bits of color that really popped. So that's why I decided on, really bright eyes. I think is really cool on Enforcers because it's such an iconic look and it's so intimidating. However, I found a really easy way to do that. Basically, you just paint it very, very bright white, and then you get a really bright fluorescent-y looking wash thing, and just put it over there. It's like a really easy glow effect. As you can see, I did that on pretty much all of the eyeballs, or visors, or whatever, for everybody. But it's a really nice effect that looks really good, and I also did that on every single gun. So all the guns in this entire army have a little bit of glowing effect, and it just really breaks up the color and brings it all to life. Moving on to the Assault Enforcers, I think this might be my favorite of all of the things I painted. I just really like the way that the wrist blades break up the color, and I really have always liked the look of Assault Enforcers. And now, spoiler alert for 3rd edition, they're really good. So I'm really excited to use a whole bunch of them in a Deadzone strike team. That was always one of the things that bugged me a lot. It's like, Assault Enforcers and the Fluff were just these awesome, very efficient killing machines, but then in the game they were just mediocre at best. Now they're actually pretty dang good, so I'm really excited to try them out. Moving up to the command dudes, this is just a variety of just, captains and sergeants and stuff like that. And then I've got the forward observer over there on the right. Really cool models, man. I really like this pistolero guy. There's no rules for him necessarily in Deadzone, but as a leader in anything like a firefight where you have a selected unit leader, he's really cool for that. And I just really like the way the double pistol guy. He just looks awesome, right? I mean, come on, look at that guy. Just means business. So these are my commander guys. Obviously they're going to be used quite a bit. In addition to the Peacekeeper commander guys over here. And I really like the way that these guys have like different Dominator rifles. Like everyone else has, the kind of standard, it looks like a really big fat, version of the other one that everybody carries. But these guys have like this cool, like double barreled looking, I don't know. It's just really neat. And it really lends itself well to the, that popping gloving effect. I just really thought they turned out really nicely, so. 2 of those guys, and then moving on, I've got 6 jet bikes. I can only find 4 of my bases, so I need to either model up some new bases or steal flight stands from something else somewhere. But yeah, I've got, I think I've got one with a burst laser, one with the missile launcher, which I think is probably the best version for Deadzone, and then, a bunch of other regular guys, especially for firefight. So they turned out really well, I think. I think they look really good. Again, I didn't want to overdo it with color, so they just have some of that light blue to kind of break up the black and gray and that kind of stuff. In the back, we can see my Defender Shield guys. So I've got 4 with Defender Shields. One of them is actually an Assault Enforcer, so he has the wrist blade. And then the other guy over here is a fusion gun. So this is an old metal upgrade that I have. And it's, because it's a different gun, the different style of firing, I actually give that one green highlights instead of the orange, which is pretty much army-wide. So he's a little bit different, and I like that little upgrade. I need to try it in Deadzone. I don't think I've ever used the fusion rifle, so that'll be fun. And then into the core, I've got 15 of the regular enforcers. Most of them are the old school, whatever they call that, rustic stuff. But then there's a couple in there that are not, and they're a little bit taller. As you can see, it's the guys in the back that are the new ones. I don't know if you can tell how much taller they are, but they're a little bit bulkier, a little bigger. But people are different sizes, so I think that works out really well. And I think these guys are testament to that glowing effect really popping. Between that and the yellow, I think that's what really sells these guys, and I think they really get the message of Black Ops, secret, blah blah blah. I think they really do a good job at selling that. I'm really happy with the way that the regular base guys turned out. Over here I've got a bunch of specialists. I've got 2 engineers and 3 snipers. One of them's a custom sniper, that's the guy who's standing up over here. I think his gun turned out really good. I think it really has that nice glowing effect. But yeah, I've got a bunch of snipers and some of the sentry guard drone things that were in the original Deadzone. So I've never been a huge fan of them rules-wise, but I think it's a cool concept, and I like the engineer model. I think he looks like he's working on stuff and very remote. And then in the back here, I've got a whole bunch of Pathfinders. I have about 20 of them. Some of them have the sniper rifles, some of them have the tag rifles. Most of them have the tag rifle. I've got good old Thug Nasty making an appearance right here up in the front. He's got the pistol cocked to the side for the kill shot. You know how he do. So he's over here. He's a fan favorite, or at least one of my favorites for sure. I don't know if anybody remembers him, but I do. I actually need to rebase the dog drones now that they have an official base size, so that's something I need to do, but I need to find more 40s before I do that. Speaking of bases, I wanted to do something that was kind of nighttime, so I picked a kind of alien-looking light purple, and it's really easy. Just had it all black and then dry brushed the light purple, and I think it really offsets the black color of the other guys, but doesn't take over. I think it just complements them really well and helps them pop a bit more. In the back over here, I've got the 5 guys with missile launchers. Obviously, this is never going to be a dead zone thing. You could use, maybe 1, but I would never spec that hard into into using that many missile launchers because they're so cumbersome. However, they're really good in stuff like Firefight and Warpath and all that stuff. So I really like the guy in the middle. Some of these guys are from the old kits. Some of these guys are from newer ones. I think the guy second to the left, I think, was kit bashed. I think that might have been from a Jetbike or something. I don't remember, but yes, I really like the guy in the middle the most. I think he's got a really cool dynamic pose where it looks like he's kind of reloading or getting his bearings again. But yeah, he's one of the metal upgrade guys, so he's a little bit heavier, which makes him cooler, obviously. And over here in the back, I've got my specialists with the burst lasers. I've got a medic in the back. He's actually got white instead of blue for most of his highlights, so he has a classic, doctor on the field medic guy look to him. So that's what he's got going. I really like the way the incinerator guy turned out. He looks like he's about to turn stuff into ash, which is awesome. And then in the back, I've finally painted these interceptor / persecutor bombers. I went with the exact same kind of scheme that I did on the shoulder pad, so just the right shoulder pad and just the right wing are going to be yellow. Everything else is kind of muted down, or with the light blue. Again, burst lasers, I just think they look really intimidating. They look like they're just about to tear stuff up. And yeah, these guys are fully magnetized, as I did a video like years ago when I first got them, and then I haven't painted them since. And so this was one of my biggest pile of shame moments. But then I literally painted the whole thing in, less than a week. Actually, these I painted on the last night after I did all the infantry, all the other stuff. I was like, you know what? They need some flyers too. And there you have it, folks. Here is the completed project, at least for now, until I add more stuff or whatever. But really happy with the results. I think it gets the message across. If you guys want to hear exactly the steps that I did to accomplish this, stick around for right now. Otherwise, no one's going to blame you for clicking away. I know this is a lot of me talking, and I don't know how much people actually like that, but yeah, that's my enforcers. I hope to get them on the table ASAP, and hopefully they can start killing and squashing rebellions. So if anybody's interested in the step-by-step, here's what I did. Basically, I primed them all black last Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, so less than a week ago. Primed them all black with my favorite primer of all time. It's the cheap one from Home Depot. I've shouted it out before on my channel, I think in the old terrain video, but it is easily my favorite primer. It covers very well. It doesn't hide any detail. It dries just about instantly, and it's literally $1. So still my favorite, still my go-to. Basically, I primed them all, and then, so I did the one Assault Enforcer, and I did the one Peacekeeper as my test models, and then everything else after that. So, once I kind of figured out what I was going to do, I did a big dry brush with the Adamantium Gray, or however you say that, from GW. It's just a really light gray. Did a big dry brush on literally everything, and then followed that up with a white dry brush. So a lot less on the white dry brush, obviously. Didn't want them to really look white. But it definitely brought it up a little bit because they look kind of bleh with just the gray. And so the white really brought it up another notch. But it also made them look a little bit too gray. So I went back and I did the Nolan oil wash to get into all the recesses and to kind of darken it up again. Some of the biggest challenge with painting black is that sometimes it can come across as just gray because you're just trying to highlight stuff. And it doesn't look black anymore. I obviously didn't want that. I want them to be the shadow of the 7, so they needed to have black armor and not just gray armor. So I kind of toned it back down with the Nolan oil. And then it was detail time. Basically, that was how I did the large majority of their armor. So then I moved on to a bright blue, and I picked out their little arc reactor thing. The Tony Stark, heart. And so all of them have that bright blue, kind of dot in the middle on that armor piece. I feel like Enforcer models really lend themselves well to a dry brush. They have a ton of detail on a lot of different things, and so it's hard to pick out all the stuff. if you're an absolute madman like Rob Berman, you can like edge highlight everything, but I'm crazy, but not that crazy. I was crazy with volume, but I don't know how people do a full edge highlight of Enforcers, because they have so many edges. So this just screamed dry brush to me. And then after that I could pick out all the details. Once I had all the arc reactor blue in the middle, I decided to do the light blue, and so that's kind of where all the color gets broken up a little bit. I didn't want to overdo it with this because there's so many armor pieces you could pick. I wanted to pick very subtle, few ones just to break up the monotony of the black. And so basically, this is where I went in and I painted the thigh pads. They have like those little squares on their thighs. Some of them put equipment on those, but a lot of them don't. And so those were blue, so that kind of breaks up the legs. And then I did the top of their heads, and then that really helps kind of sell, especially from standing behind the model. It sells the whole look from behind as well. And then, most importantly, I did the bottom part of their left shoulder. There's like 2 separate sections on each shoulder pad, and I just wanted to do the bottom one. I just like to keep it subtle, and also is easier on me. But it also kind of helps sell that like special ops look. It doesn't look really bright and flashy and space marine-y and like, you know, giant. And then so the light blue, and then obviously on the jet bikes and stuff, I just picked some cool lines, and on the interceptors and stuff like that, just kind of picked some lines to break up the color and whatnot. So pretty happy with the way the light blue, it did exactly what I wanted it to do. It just kind of broke everything up, which is nice. And then the most tedious bit, or I don't know, I guess second most tedious bit, was the yellow outline on the right shoulder pad. I thought that looked really cool on my test model, and it was kind of a pain. I obviously edging a whole shoulder pad on literally 100 miniatures wasn't the most fun thing in the world, but this is a really good yellow. It was kind of a thick yellow, and I could put it on pretty thick, so I only had to do it one time. And especially with the gray highlights, it stuck on there really well, so it wasn't that bad. It's just, you know, a lot of drawing a line on the shoulder pad. So I think the end result is really good, though. I think it really makes them, you know, pop and stand out. If I would have just kept it kind of that light blue and black, I don't think it would have that same like hit you look. So yeah, I'm happy I did that. It was a little bit time consuming, but you know, whatever. And then it was time to do the weapons and the eyes. And the reason I'm lumping them in together is because I did the same glowing effect on both the eyes and the weapons. So after I did a like gunmetal looking dry brush basically on all the guns, pretty much army wide, once I did that, I was able to just take my white paint. It's like a really bright white, and basically I painted their eyes, which was, you know, obviously tedious because it's like 200 eyes. So I guess some of them have visors, so it's probably a little under, but mostly you know, 200 eyes. And then I have this really bright orange, almost fluorescent paint. I think GW does make it. I forgot what it's called. Maybe I'll put it on screen. But it's a really easy way to do glowing effects. I've never actually tried this, but I looked up a tutorial and I was like, that's it. That's all you have to do. But yeah, you get a really bright fluorescently looking paint. I went with orange because I think the orange looks good with the light blue and the dark colors. And basically all you do for that is you just paint it white, and then you heavily put this stuff on there, and then the stuff towards the edges gets really light, and the stuff in the middle gets really dark, and on the white it really does look glowing. And so I was really pleased with that. So I just kind of went through all the guns and just kind of made little lines and things in like the indents where it looks like the energy laser kind of part would be, and then yeah, just hit them with the orange, and it turned out really great. I'm really happy with the way those turned out, because I think it looks very glowy, and it looks very futuristic, and it was very minimal effort. Like I said, I was trying to get this whole project done pretty quickly, which is why I decided on the scheme I did. But I want it to look good, and I think the glowing effects really do bring it all together. And lastly, as I mentioned before, it was just bases. I just picked a light purple. It's something you can't really do when you're painting fantasy, which is all I've done for the past year. But have like a really kind of alien-looking purple. You know, whether that's from neon lights in cities or if it's from just kind of the rocky terrain of that planet. I just thought that the light purple looked really good with the dark, you know, black color scheme. A little bit brighter on the base, but not it doesn't take over, which is what I was really trying to make sure it didn't happen. It just looks really good. I think it brings it all together, makes it look like it's kind of nighttime whenever they're fighting. It looks like they're the ones going in the middle of the night, zero dark 30ing everything. So I just made that a verb. Don't worry about it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I know this video obviously is turned into a ramble because that's kind of what I do, but if you have a giant back catalog of miniatures, I highly recommend going back through and painting them up, because I've been doing that with all my Deadzone stuff. This is just the biggest one that I did. But I just find that, you know, there's a reason you bought them in the first place, right? There's a reason that you like those models enough to spend your money on them. And I've had these guys sitting around or mediocre kind of painted for literally years now. I mean, I got most of these models back in 2013 through 2016 maybe. And so this has been several years of just sitting around and collecting dust, and I've had them primed but nothing else. And then, you know, I just didn't like my scheme, and so yeah, it's one of the most satisfying things I've ever done in the hobby, honestly, is just sitting down, putting my mind to it, and just knocking it out. And it's really, really exciting to know that, you know, it's going to look better on camera for videos, it's going to be better for my opponents to play against or play with, and I can't highly recommend this enough, because I think going back through your old stuff is actually really, really cool and cathartic. I kind of fell in love with Enforcers again. Because for a long time they've just been, oh yeah, that army that I have a whole bunch of, but, you know, I haven't, like, I guess I could use this model, it's kind of painted, and, you know, I'll never use the fusion gun guy because I haven't painted him yet. And then now there's no more of that. It's very freeing. I highly recommend doing that. It's really cool to see a completed project. That's always true, but the fact that I was able to do this in a week is both insane, but also I just got that snowball effect of once I got started, I couldn't stop. I was like, man, what's next? Like, what's the next step? And then, you know, once I had the process figured out, it all came together, and I'm just really happy with it. So thanks, guys, for watching all this stuff. Hopefully this inspires you to make some awesome hobby progress. If you do, please post it in Facebook or whatever, just so other people can see your stuff and get, you know, excited. So Deadzone 3rd Edition's coming, so I'm ready. There's going to be more faction videos like this. Obviously they're not all going to be this big. Most of them are like, you know, Deadzone size stuff, or fairly Deadzone size stuff. But yeah, I can't thank you guys enough for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and keep rolling 8s. Deadzone is life.